session. We have now with us En.Nurul Rusli, the Deputy Director of Food Technology and Resources-Based Industry Division at Malaysian Investment Development Authority (MIDA). Nurul Shams, aka better known as Shams, is the Deputy Director, Food Technology and Resources Industry Division at MIDA. He is responsible for the promotion and industrial development of food manufacturing and resource-based industry, including wood, biomass, and paper products. Shams joined MIDA in 2002 after practicing 5 years of accounting and auditing and audit firms in Kuala Lumpur. MIDA is the government principal investment promotion and development agency under the Ministry of International Trade Industry (MITI) to oversee and drive investment into manufacturing and service sectors in Malaysia. Without further ado, please let us pass the floor to Shams, sharing with us the investment opportunity in wood-based and furniture industry in Malaysia. Mr. Shams.
Thank you, MC. Jai, thank you, Jai, for the brief introduction. Good afternoon, all. I hope this is best time, not really best time for me to speak, but you know, this is the only time that we got, right? So, to our Malaysian foreigners, our Malaysian friends that live outside Malaysia, welcome to Malaysia. And I know you are leaving soon also, but please come back later. By introduction, my name is Shams. Call me Shams. I'm from Malaysian Investment Development Authority. It is a government department that promotes investment in manufacturing and services sector in Malaysia. So what we do is a bit bigger than wood, including electronics and electrical, semiconductor, automotive, and so on. So in my presentation, actually, my focus will be on assessing companies. But I have leave my details that I would welcome any follow-up emails, for example, on your interest in doing business in Malaysia. So the presentation would focus on the investment opportunities in food, in furniture and wood-based industry in Malaysia. So I would cover some of the latest updates, for example, in the economy, Malaysian economy, and a little bit more in the performance of the manufacturing in the sector. I would brief all of you about investment opportunities, incentive, and also maybe an overview, about the ecosystem and what kind of help that we can facilitate. By the way, MIDA, what we do, we evaluate manufacturing license, which is required or maybe compulsory for any companies that undertake manufacturing activities in the country. And we evaluate the incentive, we evaluate any important fees or sales tax exemption that manufacturing companies have, which manufacturing companies that having their operations here and they have to import raw materials or components that attract duties. And we also handhold company, especially for new companies that do not have any idea about investing in new area. So we will become your partners, connecting you to the local authorities as well as the federal government. That's what we are representing right now. And last but not least, we have overseas office. We have about 23 overseas office in different locations. Most of them are in the capital exporting countries. We have offices. We have 3 offices in North America. We have 6 offices in Europe. We have 2 offices in Japan, 2 offices in China, 1 in Australia, and the rest we have in India and also in Middle East. just in a snapshot, there's like a fact and figures about uh, what we have done so far in terms of the macro economy. Everybody knows that in the last 2 years it was very difficult. We had the lockdown, so as you can see, we had below 4, 5.6 minus in the GDP, but we kept track. We moved forward quickly that we achieved 3.1 GDP growth in 2021, and in 2022 I think that's the last part of the year that economy quickly reacted to that, the last part of 2022. So a lot of things happened in that period. So we managed to record quite high growth. And for 2023, we are expecting between 4 to 5 growth as we have already achieved in the quarter 1, 2023, about 5.6%. And in terms of the inflation rate, for the first quarter of 2023, we already achieved 3.6%, and we are targeting between that 3-4% of inflation and employment rate in the 2023. So I think everybody knows that Malaysia is one of the players that contributed these wood products in the economy. For example, our timber industry contributed more than 25 billion in terms of the export in 2022, and part of that furniture export more than 9 billion. So I think we are still 8th largest furniture producers or exporters in the world. So this is a statistic that we compile, through the application of the manufacturing that we got from companies. There is if you can, as you can see, we have a slight downturn in 2021 from 2020 because of the COVID, and this industry has been we have been locked down, we've been put on hold because it's not essential. But industries are quickly pick up the pace after 2021, and we are expecting in 2023 we would achieve a little bit more investment than 2022, especially from the domestic players. And in terms of the composition between local and foreign, more than 65% would come from the domestic investment. This is for wood, and wood products would include furniture products. The one that I have shown earlier, that's only particularly for furniture and furniture part. And again, they are all related issues. So 2021 would be a new activity. I mean, a stepping stone, or maybe a push-up from 2020 that industries players are experiencing from the COVID-19. This is the implemented project, means realized investment. What I have shown you earlier, that's approved investment when company putting up their proposal, for example. So out of we have more than 1,000 projects approved, but this is project. In terms of the players, we have more than probably 500 players in the country, including small and medium enterprises. And we have already I think generated more than 110,000 created jobs in the country. Major players we have from the foreign companies. We have some of them are here. We have Segama panels. I think we have Steamcase, DSSB, Domba, and also Daiki. This is just sample of the major players in the country. And on my left side will be the local players. So a lot of consideration, right, for companies to maybe expand or maybe to establish their operation in one country. So there are a lot of factors, maybe market, and maybe some of the companies will think about easy of doing business policies, for example, maybe location, access to the market, or maybe some kind of help or assistance from government. So one of the help or facilitation or maybe a push from government is tax incentive. So companies that undertake promoted products will enjoy tax incentive. We call it either finance status or investment tax allowance. Company, depending on the projects and size of investment, company can be considered for partial 70% or maybe 100% exemption for finance or maybe partial 60% qualifying expenditure on 70% salary income for investment tax allowance. Small scale has a little bit more leverage on the government incentive. They get usually 100% or maybe tax holiday for 5 years. On the other side, they get 60% qualifying capital expenditure against 100% salary income for 5 years. So what would be the definition for SME under our jurisdiction is company that has 2.5 billion credit capital, less or having 60% or 100% Malaysian equity. This is another incentive that we provide to. This is only for local company, companies that has more than 51% in terms of the equity, Malaysian companies. So company can always come back to MIDA for another round of incentive. So again, these are the three families of product that covered under this section: wood-based, rubber-based, and palm oil-based. In order for us to, encourage more participation in the industry, government also introduced this special incentive for resource base. So it is an utilization of palm oil or palm biomass. So companies will be given another round of incentive. Again, it is 100% tax holiday for 5 years, or maybe 100% qualifying expenditure incurred within 5 years, again 100% salary income. But again, this is on the palm biomass. So the thing is, government wants company not to only utilize wood, so they should think about non-wood fiber. I mean, there may be canal fiber also, or maybe biomass. So hopefully company will explore a little bit more resource, or maybe the process of producing goods, using other kind of fibers. I have this is the thing that I would like to share with you is the promoted product. These are all promoted under promotion, what we call it, Promotion Investment Act, timber molding, PJC, I mean builders joinery and carpentry, engineered wood, and then pallet. We have also composite products, bamboo and wooden furniture. Sorry, that wouldn't be metal, but only wooden furniture would be incentivized. All of these, only 3 of them for SME, small scale, small and medium enterprise, and they enjoy a little bit more. What do you call that? Incentive, like instead of partial 70%, they get 100%. But any companies may apply for the other products, and the incentive, like I said earlier, is a partial incentive. So I think the industry is quite established in the country. It is more than 50 or at least 40 years, for wood or maybe for furniture industry. And our ecosystem has been established as well. So we have a good support or maybe supply chain. As you can see, we have also local players in the metal and fabrication or machining and so on. We have the upstream part, but I know the issue in terms of the supply of raw materials. It all depends on the upstream producers. But again, we have plenty of resources that can be channeled into doing downstream. And incentive, actually, if you notice, only focus on the downstream product. I mean, we emphasize or we focus on the higher value add and also utilizing latest technology or maybe automation in the process. So these are the things that really really strike me, because we have really good support in terms of the metal fabrication, for example, or machining, or maybe other supply chain that support E&E in the country. We have advanced technology that support automotive in the country, support semiconductor and medical devices as well. But I just sometimes wonder why industry players, existing players, are not able to apply or utilizing the technology in the process of producing food or maybe furniture. There are people that industry players should work together, and they can help companies to not only reduce costs but also to optimize, maybe what do you call it? Make a company sufficient in producing or in undertaking these manufacturing activities. Throughout my engagement with the industry players in the country, many of our players, many of the industry players are labor intensive, so they are reluctant to invest in automation or maybe technology. We are not talking about advanced technology right now. We are talking about simple automation that put things together without using foreign labor. And that's the reason government come up with the policy 80-20. It is not immediate action that we need from companies, but we do have given companies some space. It was introduced back in 2016, if correct me if I'm wrong. 2016, government introduced the 80-20 policy, but until today, we are still giving some relaxation to companies, especially for what do you call it? It's labor-intensive industry to comply with that condition. Again, if as I shared here, these are all existing companies, and they are in the country. If any of you, regardless you are new companies that planning to undertake the activity, or you are existing companies are already in the business and struggling to link or connect with the right partners in doing automation, MIDA, we are more than happy to help you. We have a single department that can handhold and can connect you with the players. We call it Domestic Investment and Supply Chain Division. So I would love to have more interaction actually, but again, I have the contact details. You can always email to me for further information that you may need. But always, I will always encourage any companies that I meet or any new business ventures that exploring opportunities in this wood or maybe furniture in the country. Please explore value add or maybe the the downstream product in the country. It has more value here. It has more talent, and we have pretty much complete ecosystem that any company would doing well in Malaysia. And with that, I end my session. But I'm welcoming any further questions from audience. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sam. I would like to invite you to hold on to the mic first. So we will go around the hall. If anyone has any questions regarding the financial incentives that were provided by MIDA just now, I was quite intrigued with the financial incentive provided by MIDA just now, because we also, as an MTC, we also have a financial incentive to support the industry member. But one of the questions that I have to ask is what just now you mentioned that the certain requirement from SMEs category. But what are the requirements for our Malaysian timber industry to actually be qualified to apply to your financial incentive? Because we also work on our financial incentive in our product testing, machine purchasing, for participation in exhibition to promote the timber industry in Malaysia. And there are certain requirements that are put into threshold for those people who wanted to participate. Other than there being the threshold amount of 2.5 million SME, what are the criteria that for the timber industry to be eligible to be applying to the financial incentive?
Sure. That's SME condition that I mentioned for the incentive only for the small scale. So other than small scale, anyone is welcome to apply for we call it tax incentive, not financial tax incentive. This is more about tax reduction, or maybe some countries they give you some rebates. For example, we don't give money to companies to start with their business, but we give them some kind of rebates or maybe tax deduction. For example, finance status. Let's say if a company given that finance status 100% tax holiday for 5 years, so companies are not required to pay any tax. But if they are given 70%, they have to pay 30% of their income to the government, which is 30% from 24 or 26% rate. But the condition is that company must have that beneficial license, and company must have at least 40% in terms of the value add, and company must meet at least 140,000 per, they call it cost of investment per employee. That's 140,000 cost of investment per employee, and the rest will be that should work for company to enjoy tax incentive. But it must be promoted product. That's the list of the product that I mentioned. So yeah.
Further explain on the 140,000 per
Okay,
employee.
let's say your capital investment do not include land, just machine, for example, and some working capital. Let's say 100, let's say 1 million divided by the number of employees. So it must be at least 140,000. So let's say 1 million, so you have 14 stuff, right? So that would make oh no, we have 1 million over 10, for example, you get 100,000, still not meet, right? So you have to increase your capital so that you can get 140,000 per employee.
What kind of incentive you provide?
So if you make wooden furniture, for example, so you can come to us, yeah, right? You can get either finance status 70% for 5 years, 70% break, for 5 years on your second income.
So basically what you're saying is, for all companies, are you allowed to extend the program to the old companies?
The thing is, we don't give incentive to existing players. If you have undertaken or you have already in the business, it's not desirous already. So we only give it to the new proposal, new company.
What happens if, let's say, the old company invest more money?
Yes, for the expansion. But let's say you miss the boat for the first time, right?
Right.
And you have expansion plan, for example. For furniture, yes, you can apply for reinvestment, but it must be Malaysian company, at least 51% Malaysian.
Right. You mean that one definitely lah.
Yeah.
But so all companies, you actually support that.
Yes. For wood, we have the reinvestment. But that's only for Malaysian companies.
Just to qualify, one more question.
Okay.
Your staff, you say, it must be Malaysian staff or foreign worker staff? Total. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, full time. You can just put in the full time employment.
51%, is that right?
We're talking about the cost of investment per employee. So
I see. All right. Maybe we can have another question from the floor. Anyone interested about the tax reduction incentive from the MIDA? Just now, we also have a machinery, a very interesting incentive support by MIDA as well for machinery. As we all know, the Malaysian Wood Expo is actually a timber and also machinery expo. For those who are purchasing some machineries here, maybe we can apply to the MIDA investment incentive as well. So, any other question from the floor before we end the session? If not, before we end it, I think let's have a group photo. Maybe we can have Mr. Sham to sit around here. Our photographer can see from the back, from that side. Okay, we can, I'm pretty sure there's no other question, right? So let's have a group photo. So I'm gonna sit with Mr. Sham. Can we have some thumbs up? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sham.
thank you. Terima kasih.
For very informative presentations. We will now, we will take now a break and resume at 1 p.m. With us, we have our last speaker from Control Union Malaysia, Sindra Berhad, will be sharing with us about the changing phase of the consumerism and control union value proposition for the forestry industry. So see you again later at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.